Welcome to our channel, where we explore captivating stories of love, courage, and faith. Today, we delve into the timeless tale of Ruth and Naomi, a story that has inspired hearts for generations. Once upon a time, within the rugged hills of Judah, there lived a woman named Naomi, whose life was woven with threads of both joy and despair. Naomi, a Hebrew by birth, had once lived in Bethlehem with her husband Elimelech and their two sons, Mahlon and Chilion. However, when there was a severe famine in the lands of Judah, Elimelech led his family away from the parched fields of their homeland to the foreign and fertile plains of Moab, seeking sustenance and survival. In Moab, life took a bittersweet turn. While the family found the nourishment they sought, Naomi's heart was soon fractured by loss. Elimelech passed away, leaving her a widow in a strange land. Her sons married Moabite women, Orpah and Ruth, and for a decade the family clung to each other. But fate was not yet finished with Naomi, as both her sons also met untimely deaths, leaving the three women in so much agony. After the untimely deaths of Mahlon and Chilion, Naomi, Ruth, and Orpah were left to face an uncertain future. In the heart of Moab, under the shadow of loss and the weight of impending separation, Orpah stood beside Ruth, facing their beloved mother-in-law, Naomi. The air was thick with the sorrow of their shared grief, for they had all dressed in the dark robes of widowhood. Naomi's eyes, marred by the pain of losing not only her husband, but also her sons, Orpah's husband Chilion among them, looked upon them with a sorrow deeper than the Moabite valleys. Naomi, with the resolve of one who had weathered many storms, urged them to return to their Moabite families. She had nothing left to offer them, she said, her voice a blend of love and resignation. She spoke of the impossibility of providing new husbands, of the improbability of a fruitful future with her. Her words were like stones in Orpah's heart, heavy with truth, yet Orpah felt the pull of her own family, the familiar culture and gods of Moab whispering to her in the silent spaces between Naomi's pleas. Ruth and Orpah wept, their tears mingling with the dust at their feet, as they initially refused to leave Naomi's side. But Naomi was adamant, painting a picture of a better life they might lead without her, a life she could not partake in. With a heavy heart, Orpah embraced Naomi, feeling the tremble of Naomi's body, a vessel of sorrow. Orpah kissed her, a goodbye laced with gratitude, and a love that would not wane with distance. Ruth, the younger of Naomi's daughters-in-law, was a woman of striking character and devotion. Born and raised in Moab, she had embraced the family of her husband as her own. Her spirit, kindled with a fierce loyalty and an innate sense of compassion, refused to abandon Naomi when the tides of tragedy could have easily washed her back to her own family. Ruth's heart had been captured not only by her husband, but also by the love and teachings of Naomi and the God she worshipped, creating an unbreakable bond between the two women. Turning back to look at Ruth, Orpah saw a resolve in Ruth's eyes that Orpah could not mirror. Ruth clung to Naomi with a tenacity that was both admirable and heart-wrenching. In that moment, Ruth spoke words of profound loyalty and love, words that would be etched in the memory of their people forever. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. Her declaration was a tapestry of devotion, woven with strands of an unbreakable commitment. Orpah saw in Ruth's choice a path Orpah could not follow, a dedication that transcended the bonds of marriage and ventured into the realm of the soul. Ruth was choosing a life of uncertainty, a life tied to Naomi and her God, a choice that was both selfless and sacred. As Orpah bid them farewell, the contours of Orpah's own life began to take shape in her mind, leading her back to Moab. Orpah carried with her the bittersweet memories of a family that had once been whole, and the image of Ruth and Naomi, two women embarking on a journey that would reshape not just their destinies, but the lineage of kings and the very fabric of their history. Their strength was a silent testament to the power of love. And while Orpah's path diverged from theirs, Orpah moved forward, forever changed by the bond they shared. Upon their return to Bethlehem, the two women faced the hardships of poverty and uncertain futures. It was harvest time, and Ruth took to the fields to glean what scraps of barley she could gather, her diligence and humility painting a portrait of her inner strength and dignity. It was there that she caught the eye of Boaz, a noble and kind-hearted man who would play a pivotal role in her destiny. Boaz, a relative of Elimelech, was a man of great wealth and status in Bethlehem, known for his integrity and adherence to the law of Moses. He was a pillar in his community, a man who had never sought a bride despite his eligibility. When he noticed Ruth in his fields, her reputation of loyalty to Naomi had already reached his ears. Moved by her plight and stirred by her virtue, Boaz extended his protection and favor to her, an act that was both an embodiment of his generosity and a spark of something deeper, a connection that would grow to alter the course of their lives. As seasons changed, guided by Naomi's wisdom, Ruth took a bold step and approached Boaz under the cover of night, laying at his feet as a gesture of humility and trust, ultimately orchestrating a proposal of marriage to Boaz. Boaz, in turn, honored and uplifted by Ruth's request for his protection, navigated the customs of their culture to secure his right to marry her. Their union signified the restoration and redemption of Naomi's family line and the integration of Ruth into a people and a faith she had chosen out of love. In a beautiful display of love and faith, Ruth and Boaz were joined in marriage, with the blessings of the elders and the people of Bethlehem. Their union brought joy and hope to Naomi, whose sorrow was replaced by gratitude and happiness. From their love, a son was born, Obed, a child who would grow up to become the grandfather of King David, a legendary figure in the history of Israel. Ruth's journey from loss to redemption had come full circle as she found love, family, and purpose in the arms of her beloved Boaz. In the days that followed Ruth's marriage to Boaz, a subtle shift began to weave through the tapestry of Naomi's life. Where once the threads were frayed with sorrow, now they shimmered with the promise of restoration. Naomi, with conviction in her heart, sang a new song to her God. In her words, "The Lord has brought me back empty, but he has filled my arms again. He has turned my bitterness to joy, my mourning into dancing. This child, this precious gift, shall be a reminder to us all, our Redeemer lives, and in him our lives are woven with endless grace." The story of Ruth and Naomi teaches us the power of loyalty, resilience, and faith in the face of adversity. May their tale inspire us to embrace love and hope in our own lives, no matter the challenges we may face. Thank you for following this story. If you enjoyed this story, please leave a like and a comment. Do well to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more interesting stories like this.